Have you ever noticed how the very moment you resist a feeling, it grows stronger, as if fighting the current only pulls you deeper into its pull? I recall standing at the edge of a quiet lake one evening, wrestling with a knot of anxiety that refused to loosen. Instead of forcing it away, I leaned closer, curious about its shape, color, temperature. In that instant, the tension whispered to me not of failure, but of my unspoken longing for certainty. That willingness to explore the dark corner of my own mind became the compass, leading me to the light I truly sought. When you lean into negativity with curiosity rather than resistance, you transform a hindrance into a guide. Rather than labeling an uncomfortable emotion as bad and scrambling to escape, allow yourself to inspect it as if it were an object in a laboratory. Notice its texture. Is it sharp and biting, or sluggish and heavy? Observe its sound, a racing heartbeat or a hollow echo. By treating the feeling as data instead of an enemy, you extract vital information about the desire buried beneath the disturbance. Every pang of doubt or twinge of fear marks an undiscovered facet of your own aspiration waiting to be claimed. Curiosity toward discomfort bridges the gap between unconscious yearning and conscious awareness. In everyday life, we often silence worry with distraction, scrolling social feeds or burying ourselves in work. These tactics temporarily soothe, but they also keep the real message hidden. Instead, take a breath and tune inward. Sit quietly and whisper a question. What is this feeling trying to show me? As soon as you ask, imagine the answer as a wordless vision. Perhaps anxiety feels like a frost spreading across glass. That frost signals warmth is needed. That warmth is the comfort, stability, or self-trust you've been overlooking. Curiosity transforms negative emotion into a roadmap. Once you unmask the desire beneath the negativity, your imagination can't take over. Picture the opposite scene in vivid detail. If your mind is clouded by loneliness, imagine a shared laugh under golden sunlight, voices echoing with connection. If fear of rejection tightens your chest, feel the relief of acceptance washing over you. Note the gentle rhythm of voices saying, "You belong." These creative acts are not fanciful daydreams. They are precise instructions to your subconscious, which moves only on clear signals. By starting with the raw, unfiltered data of your negativity, your imagination knows exactly what to build. This approach to negativity is an exercise in honest self-inquiry. In one experiment, I tracked moments of impatience throughout my day, jotting down each trigger on a small notepad. With each entry, I paused to ask, what outcome lies hidden beneath this impatience? Soon I recognized a steady thread, an underlying hunger for recognition. That insight allowed me to shift focus. Instead of chiding myself for snapping at a cashier, I rewrote the scene in my mind as a moment of genuine appreciation, feeling honored and seen. The rash behavior dissolved, replaced by calm confidence. Integrating this practice into your evenings magnifies its potency. Before sleep, review the day's moments of unease. Relive each one in imagination, but this time step into the reversal. If frustration flared when a plan went awry, sense the satisfaction of seamless progress as you lie in bed. If envy rose when you saw another's success, let the sensation of shared celebration fill you instead. These nocturnal revisions overwrite the raw signal of negativity with the blueprint for positive manifestation. Your sleeping mind, unguarded by critical thought, weaves these impressions into the tapestry of your future experiences. Every instance of curiosity toward negative emotion deepens your self-acknowledge and accelerates your creation process. You no longer need to pretend negativity does not exist. You treat it as the signpost it is. With each observation, the compass of your inner awareness inches closer to true north, your authentic desire. Over time, you'll find that the moments you once dreaded become invitations to greater clarity and power, guiding you ever more swiftly to the reality you aim to realize. Now, when doubt arises, pause and lean in. Let the feeling show you its face. Thank it for its signal. Then reimagine the opposite with rich sensory detail. In this dance of exploration and creation, negativity ceases to be an obstacle and becomes the very compass that directs you to your heart's deepest wish. Have you ever noticed how the very gap between what is and what you crave can feel like a spotlight shining on your deepest wish? I once sat before a blank canvas, burdened by the absence of inspiration. Rather than fighting that emptiness, I leaned into it, tracing its contours, feeling its cool, hollow presence. In that stillness, the vision I'd been fumbling toward coalesced with startling clarity, not because I conjured it from nothing, but because the blankness around it highlighted every vibrant hue of possibility. Contrast, in its simplest form, is the grand teacher of desire. When you observe what feels not yet, you naturally sharpen the mental image of what you truly want. A dark sky makes each star more brilliant. The absence of laughter in a room makes the memory of joyful voices all the more precious. In the same way, when you acknowledge the gap between your reality and your wish without resistance, you create a canvas upon which your imagination can paint with absolute precision. Think of every unmet longing as a lantern swinging in the wind. Its very motion reveals the path to fulfillment. If you wander through a garden at dusk without a light, you risk stumbling. Yet hold up a lamp and each twist and turn becomes visible. Your awareness of lack is that lamp. By welcoming the awareness of not having, this is not an exercise in negativity, but in truthful exploration. One evening I found myself stirred by envy upon seeing a friend's success. Instead of suppressing that twinge, I examined it closely, the knot in my chest, the sharp intake of breath, the longing for my own triumph. Those sensations were signposts, pointing directly to my unspoken aspiration for recognition. In that moment of honest inspection, I felt gratitude for the envy itself, for it had served as both alarm and compass. Once the contrasting reality is mapped, your imagination takes the reins. Picture the scene you desire with all your senses alive. If you yearn for creative flow, recall the weight of brush in hand, the scent of fresh paint, the gentle caress of inspiration igniting in your mind. Each detail stands out because you first acknowledge the dull ache of frustration. That contrast deepens your impression, compelling your subconscious to actualize the vibrant counterpart. A daily practice can cement this power. Keep a small journal by your side. Whenever you sense discomfort, a pang of doubt, a whisper of regret, pause and write it down. Spend a moment tracing the exact quality of that feeling. Is it a tight knot, a dull ache, or a restless flutter? Then breathe deeply and transcribe the reverse, the warm uncoiling of confidence, the radiant glow of accomplishment, the serene flutter of contentment. Over time, this ritual trains your mind to move swiftly from shadow to light. The twilight hours are especially potent for this work. As your body relaxes toward sleep, review the day's contrasts in your imagination. Relive a moment of disappointment, then seamlessly rewrite it as a triumph. Feel the soft rush of relief, the steady heartbeat of success. Your dreaming mind, unguarded by logic, weaves these impressions into the blueprint of tomorrow's experience, using the tension of the not yet as fuel to bring the already is into form. Contrast also refines your mental diet. Just as a chef balances flavors by pairing bitter with sweet, you balance your inner landscape by pairing the awareness of lack with the sensation of plenty. When negative thoughts surface, don't banish them outright. Instead, let them signal you to introduce the flavor of your fulfilled desire. Imagine the rich aroma, the satisfying taste, the nurturing warmth. This interplay of opposing forces creates a harmonious banquet for your consciousness. Throughout your waking hours, remain alert to the subtle edges of contrast. When a plan falls through, note the dissonance between expectation and outcome. In that dissonance lies the seed of a clearer vision. Use that moment to pivot inward. Breathe, observe, and reconstruct the scenario as you wish it to be. Speak to yourself as if the reversal is happening now. Feel the joy of success in your tone, the calm assurance in your posture. I once tested this method on a stalled project. Each morning brought a renewed frustration. Deadlines loomed, progress stalled. Instead of cursing the stagnation, I cataloged each frustration as a signpost. By midday, I would retreat to imagination, picturing the project completed with finesse, the applause of colleagues, the satisfaction of a task well done. Within weeks, momentum returned as if the very act of contrasting had reprogrammed circumstances to reflect my inner blueprint. Embrace contrast as your most honest teacher. Every moment of not yet carries within it the exact coordinates of fulfillment. By observing what feels absent without judgment, you carve a clear path for your creative power. In that space between yearning and realization, your imagination stands ready to sculpt the life you intend. Let the interplay of darkness and light guide you, and watch how swiftly the world around you reshapes to mirror the vivid image you hold within. Imagine a tiny flame hidden within the cold ash of disappointment. If you lean close enough, you can feel its warmth, its promise of transformation. In my own journey, I once stood before an empty page, my heart weighed down by the frustration of writer's block. Instead of fleeing from that heavy knot in my chest, I welcomed it like an old friend. I sat quietly, tracing the contours of that discomfort, its tight coil, its muted color, its urgent pulse. In that silent inventory, I discovered the precise longing beneath the resistance, the yearning to share a story that would inspire others. Negative emotion is never your adversary. It is a messenger delivering the coordinates of your hidden desire. When you fully inhabit the sensation of doubt or frustration, you are handed the raw blueprint of what you truly wish to create. Pain points in your inner world are like road signs on a journey, each one marked, turn here toward fulfillment. To dismiss these signals is to read the map that guides your creative energy. Feeling your unease in vivid detail does not deepen your suffering, but instead sharpens your vision of the prize you seek. Begin by engaging with the feeling directly. Sit in a quiet space and allow the emotion to surface, without judgment or story. Notice its physical location in your body, perhaps a tightness in the throat, a weight in the chest, or a flutter in the stomach. Give it a name. Call it anxiety, envy, or regret. Observe its intensity. Is it a dull ache or a sharp pang? Note its duration and any patterns that emerge. This exercise transforms an abstract mood into concrete data. You move from, I feel bad, to, I feel a heavy pressure in my chest, throbbing twice per breath, and that clarity is the spark your imagination needs to ignite. I once conducted this experiment after a particularly disappointing day. A proposal I had poured my heart into was rejected without explanation. That evening, I refused the usual tactic of distraction. Instead, I reclined on my sofa, closed my eyes, and invited the sting of rejection to reveal itself fully. I felt the bitterness as a metallic tang on my tongue, and the hollow ache as a slow-moving tide in my torso. As I gave the feeling space, a question arose spontaneously. What am I really seeking? The answer came as a vivid image of a project celebrated by heartfelt applause. In that instant, the raw data of rejection. And with that insight in hand, your imagination can reconstruct the scene as you intend it. Shift your awareness from the cold facts of discomfort to the warm reality of fulfillment. See yourself receiving praise. Hear the authentic well done radiating in your ears. Sense the glow of pride radiating through your body. Fill in every detail, the shade of the room's lighting, the texture of the chair you sit upon, the smiles of those around you. This is not fanciful daydreaming. It is the recalibration of your internal compass. By first mining the depth of your negative feeling, you supply the subconscious mind with the exact blueprint needed to build the positive counterpart. To make this process habitual, carry a small notebook throughout your day. Whenever a twinge of disquiet arises, jot down the moment. What triggered it? where you felt it, what thoughts accompanied it. Then, on the page beside it, write the reverse, the sensation you wish to experience in place of the discomfort. If impatience flares at a slow driver, transpose it into the smooth flow of each car moving in perfect harmony. If sadness sneaks in upon remembering a lost opportunity, flip it into the sweet hush of contentment as you savor present blessings. Over time, this practice rewires your mind, training it to shift swiftly from signal to solution. Integrate the work into your evening ritual for maximal effect. As your body drifts towards sleep, review the day's entries one by one. For each negative note, replay the scene in imagination, then instantly switch to the reverse scenario. Feel the surge of relief as tension dissolves, the calm assurance as each need is met. Let these impressions linger as you drift off, knowing that your dreaming mind, unshackled by logic, will weave them into the tapestry of your next day. In this way, the raw signal of negative emotion becomes the very engine that drives your creative process forward. By feeling negativity fully and without shame, you unlock the secret code to your own desires. Each twinge of discomfort is a raw gem waiting to be cut and polished by your imagination. Treat it as the gift it is, a precise indicator of where your creative energy should flow. In that space of honest inquiry, you transform resistance into resource and chart a clear course toward the reality you intend to experience. Imagine holding a blank photograph in your hands, its surface cold and empty, and then slowly watching a vibrant image emerge before your eyes, each brush stroke of color filling the void until the picture feels more real than the paper itself. That transformation is the very art of turning a raw, unrefined signal of negativity into a living, breathing scene of fulfillment within your imagination. It is in this deliberate act of creation, where absence gives birth to presence, that you harness the true power of your inner world and set the stage for outer manifestation. When you first encounter a wave of doubt, frustration, or anxiety, recognize it as the uncut gemstone of desire. Left untouched, it lies dormant, a mere whisper in the depths of consciousness. But when you bring it into the light, examine its facets, and then consciously reforge it into a clear vision of what you wish to see, you ignite a process of alchemy. The raw signal, that initial pang of lack, serves as both the starting material and the guiding template for the positive scene you will construct. Begin by pausing in front of the blank photograph of your mind and allowing the negative signal to surface in full detail. Notice its texture. Is it jagged and metallic, like the gray of urban concrete, or soft and swelling like a bruise of emotional hurt? Acknowledge its tone. Does the feeling carry the chill of emptiness or the tightness of constriction? By giving yourself permission to feel and describe these qualities, you convert an amorphous discomfort into a precise blueprint for creation. Each description refines the contours of the future scene you intend to replace it with. With that blueprint in hand, call upon your imagination to step into the role of artist. Envision a scene that embodies the reversal of your negative impulse, one that radiates the fulfillment you seek. If the original feeling was the freeze of loneliness, imagine a warm gathering of kindred spirits, the glow of lanterns reflecting in their smiles, the harmony of shared laughter drifting through the evening air. Engage every sense. Feel the soft weight of an arm draped across your shoulders. Hear the melody of voices in conversation. Smell the faint aroma of blooming jasmine nearby. The more vivid the sensory detail, the more compelling the command you issue to your subconscious mind. This creative exercise is not merely fanciful. It operates on the fundamental principle that consciousness moves toward the clearest signal. Your subconscious mind does not distinguish between real and vividly imagined experiences. It responds to the impression you provide. By reconstructing the raw signal into a living scene rich with sensory data, you bridge the gap between the void of not yet and the fullness of already here. The imagined scene becomes the magnetic pole that draws circumstances to align with your inner reality. To make this process habitual, integrate it into a simple daily ritual. Choose a consistent time each day, perhaps during a quiet moment in the afternoon or the tranquil minutes before sleep, and dedicate 5 to 10 minutes to this imaginative reversal. Begin by recalling a recent negative signal, then fluidly transition into the positive reversal scene. If you find your mind wandering, gently guide it back to the sensory specifics. The exact hue of the sky, the texture of the fabric beneath your fingertips, the cadence of triumphant applause. With repetition, you strengthen the neural pathways associated with your desired reality, effectively teaching your subconscious to prioritize that outcome. In my own experience, I tested this method when a creative project stalled under the weight of self-doubt. Rather than berating myself for lack of progress, I let the insecurity sit beside me like a quiet guest and asked, what would success feel like if it were happening now? Immediately, a mental vignette unfolded, the glare of stage lights as I presented my work, the palpable nods of approval from an engaged audience, the resonant hum of genuine connection. I lingered in that scene until each detail felt unmistakably true. Within days, I found myself generating new ideas effortlessly, as if the barrier of doubt had dissolved under the warmth of that imagined triumph. Eventually, you'll discover that this technique works not only for big desires, but for the subtle shifts that elevate daily life. A moment of impatience in traffic can become an opportunity to imagine gliding through an open road with ease. A twinge of insecurity before a meeting can transform into the steady pulse of confident communication. By repeatedly bridging the signal of absence with the presence of your fulfilled vision, you train your inner world to default to the state you choose rather than the one you resist. As you continue, bear in mind that patience and consistency are your allies. The alchemy of the inner transformation does not rely on force but on faithful unfolding. Each time you turn a raw negative signal into a vivid positive scene, you weave a stronger thread in the fabric of your reality, drawing the circumstances you seek ever closer. In that seamless interplay between absence and presence, your imagination becomes the architect of the life you intend. Have you ever lain in bed on a restless night, your mind flickering between worry and fatigue, only to discover that those final moments before sleep hold the key to reshaping your reality? I recall one evening when a knot of anxiety refused to loosen, even as my body begged for rest. Rather than forcing sleep or chasing away the discomfort, I turned inward and let that unease guide me. In that half-awake, half-dreaming state, I found a doorway. By consciously impressing upon my mind the exact reversal of that negative feeling, as if it were already done, I unlocked a silent power that transformed both my sleep and my waking life. As your body drifts toward slumber, the critical voice of logic softens, and the threshold to your subconscious yawns open. This twilight portal is unique. Your conscious mind, with its doubts and defenses, grows quiet, while your inner landscape becomes like wet cement, ready to take the shape you press into it. In that liminal space, the words you whisper, the images you paint, and the emotions you feel gain extraordinary influence. Rather than viewing pre-sleep as mere downtime, treat it as a laboratory where you can conduct experiments in creation. The technique is simple yet profound. Call up the negative emotion that lingers from your day and then, in vivid imagination, replay the scene of its fulfillment as if you have already lived it. To begin, prepare your environment so that your body can fully relax without interruption. Lie down comfortably, dim the lights, and close your eyes. Take several deep, deliberate breaths, feeling the weight of your limbs sink into the mattress. With each exhale, release tension from head to toe. As your muscles soften, allow your mind to drift backward through the day's events until you encounter the moment when a subtle sting of doubt, fear, or frustration first arose. Perhaps it was a curt remark in a meeting, a pang of worry about an upcoming deadline, or the lingering sting of an old regret resurfacing. Greet that moment as a teacher, not an enemy. Show me where you are and what you carry. Once the negative feeling is present, observe its qualities without judgment. Notice where it resides in your body, a tight knot in the chest, a hollow pit in the stomach, or a swirl behind the eyes. Attend to its texture. Is it sharp like broken glass or dull like a bruise? Does it pulse or sit still? As you breathe into the sensation, thank it for revealing your unmet need. Then, without hesitation, shift your awareness to the reversal of that very experience. If your discomfort felt like isolation, imagine a gathering filled with warmth and connection. If it weighed like failure, sense the rising buoyancy of triumphant success. Now comes the most vital step. Inhabit that reversed scene with emotional intensity. Picture every detail around you, the color of the sky, the hum of laughter, the texture of a handshake, the gentle warmth of a congratulatory embrace. Feel the surge of relief and the swell of gratitude as if the desired outcome is happening now. Speak a simple statement or affirmation under your breath. Phrases like, "I am celebrated and supported," or "My project unfolds flawlessly." Let the words resonate deep in your chest, matching their cadence to your heartbeat and breathing. This sensory-rich inversion becomes a direct command to your receptive subconscious, planting the seed of your intention into fertile soil. As your body continues its descent into sleep, allow the imagined scene to blend seamlessly with the drift of dreams. Resist the urge to critique or analyze, simply feel. If your awareness drifts away, gently guide it back to the core emotion of the fulfilled desire. Even if only fragments of the scene remain, those fragments are enough. Your subconscious mind, ever faithful, will fill in the gaps. Night after night, this ritual rewires your inner circuits. The raw signal of negativity is transformed and stored as the blueprint for your next day's experiences. Consistency is key. Just as muscles strengthen through repeated exercise, your creative faculty grows more responsive with each nightly rehearsal. If you miss a session, return without judgment the next evening. Observe how after a few nights you awaken with a changed mood, a lighter heart, or a fresh insight that propels you forward. Often, solutions to daytime problems emerge from unexpected sources. An offhand remark in conversation, a sudden inspiration while showering, or a spark of enthusiasm at the breakfast table. These are the subconscious at work, translating the script you impressed upon it before sleep. Over time, you'll notice the power of this technique extending far beyond immediate concerns. Small irritations, traffic jams, forgotten passwords, miscommunications begin to feel like signposts guiding you to greater clarity. Instead of frustration, you feel curiosity. What is this moment revealing about my true desire? And in the soft glow of pre-sleep reflection, you naturally reverse each irritation into its fulfilled counterpart. This habit of nightly revision becomes a catalyst for a mindset that no longer bears burdensome negativity, but rather uses it as raw material for creation. Stand firm in the knowledge that the mind you impress before sleep is the same mind you wake with. Each night's invocations sow seeds in the dark. Each morning brings forth their tender shoots. By dedicating the moments before slumber to conscious reversal, feeling the negative fully, then, embodying its opposite, you harness the most potent creative power available. Let the state just before sleep be your laboratory, your sanctuary, and your launch pad for the life you intend. Have you ever found yourself standing at the crossroads of doubt and desire, where one foot longs for fulfillment while the other trembles in uncertainty? I remember a time when I was convinced a breakthrough was just beyond reach. My heart soared at the vision of success, yet my mind whispered, "What if it never comes?" Rather than battling that inner tug-of-war, I decided to treat both voices as partners in creation. I let the certainty of my goal shine brightly while I gently acknowledged the lingering fear. In that delicate balance, I discovered a current of energy far greater than blind optimism ever provided. Persistence is not blind repetition. It is the art of steady alignment. True persistence means holding the end result feeling as your guiding star, even while you recognize the presence of doubt. Imagine you're learning a new language. You picture yourself conversing fluently in your mind's eye, yet you accept that today your vocabulary may falter. That acceptance doesn't derail your practice, it deepens it, because you're no longer denying the gap between your present skill and your future mastery. By honoring both the aspiration and the uncertainty, you maintain momentum without the exhausting pretense of complete confidence. Consider the metaphor of a sailboat on a shifting sea. The wind may howl from unexpected directions, buffeting the mast with sudden gusts of fear or discouragement. If you pretend those gusts don't exist, you risk capsizing. But if you recognize them as part of the journey, you can adjust your sails, tilting slightly toward hope. Bracing with the wisdom of caution, the sailboat moves forward not by ignoring the wind, but by harnessing both its power and its unpredictability. In the same way, your inner state becomes a vessel propelled by the tension between already here and not yet, carrying you across the waters of manifestation. To practice this in daily life, create a simple mental ritual. Each morning, close your eyes and breathe deeply. First, feeling the full satisfaction of your desired outcome as if it is unfolding right now. Notice the warmth in your chest, the lightness in your shoulders, the quiet confidence in your thoughts. Then, without shame, invite your doubts to speak. I see you there, and I honor what you represent. Name the specific worry. Will I meet that deadline? Or, what if they don't approve my idea? And hold it with compassionate attention for just a moment. Finally, return your focus to the feeling of victory, letting it glow more brightly than the worry fades. This oscillation trains your mind not to collapse under doubt, but to use it as a guidepost that keeps your intentions sharp. As evening falls, lean into the state akin to sleep with the same dual awareness. Recall a moment when doubt tried to steal your focus, a conversation that unsettled you or a task that overwhelmed you. Sit with that memory for a breath or two, feeling its texture and the questions it raises, then seamlessly shift into the triumphant reversal. Feel the ease of resolution, the swell of gratitude, the calm knowing that you have arrived. Whisper an affirmation that honors both sides. I embrace today's lessons and celebrate tomorrow's triumph. Allow those words to ripple through your subconscious as you drift into rest, planting seeds that your dreaming mind will nurture. I once applied this method during a challenging presentation. My heart pounded with anticipation as I imagined myself commanding the room, yet I also felt a familiar flutter of unease, the fear of stumbling over a word or losing my audience's interest. Instead of silencing that fear, I let it share the stage. I held the sensation of calm confidence and the tremor of uncertainty together, like two dancers in a duet. That very tension became the creative spark. It kept me grounded, focused, and adaptable. When questions arose mid-speech, I wasn't thrown off. I simply wove them into the narrative, propelled by the underlying certainty of my prepared vision. Over time, you'll find that persistence with dual awareness transforms obstacles into signposts. Doubt will no longer feel like a betrayal of your goal, but an honest messenger pointing to areas where your inner conviction can grow stronger. Each moment of uncertainty becomes an invitation to reaffirm your feeling of success, making that feeling more tangible, more alive. The gap between your current experience and your desired reality narrows with every compassionate acknowledgement of doubt, combined with unwavering embrace of fulfillment. So when you next face a wave of fear or hesitation, pause and smile at it. Let it speak its truth, and then let your vision respond with even greater clarity and emotion. In that dynamic interplay, you cultivate a persistence that is both tender and powerful, anchored by your end-result feeling and fueled by the very doubts that once threatened to derail you. This is the true essence of unwavering creation, a steady flame that neither ignores the wind nor flickers out in its gusts, but burns ever brighter, carrying you toward the life you intend. Picture your mind as a banquet hall, its tables laden with the thoughts you choose to serve yourself each day. Just as indulging in rich desserts too often can weaken the body, allowing negative images, doubts, or criticisms to linger in the theater of your consciousness breeds weakness in your creative power. Guarding your mental diet means becoming the vigilant host of your inner feast, granting entry only to those thoughts that support the fulfillment you seek, while offering any doubt the briefest of invitations before escorting it out the door. Begin by cultivating awareness of the quality of your inner intake. Notice how certain conversations, news items, or passing thoughts leave a bitter aftertaste in your mind. When an unwanted idea arises, "I'm not capable, this will never work," or "I'm too late," treat it as the low-calorie morsel it is. It signals where your hunger truly lies. That pang of negativity is not meant to be savored. Rather, it highlights the fertile soil in which your genuine desire awaits planting. By tasting the bitterness only momentarily, you glean the precise information needed to steer your attention back to the sweetness of its opposite. The swift transition from negative awareness to sensory-rich imagination is the core of this practice. As soon as you recognize a thought that undermines your goal, pause and breathe deeply. Then pivot intentionally. Summon an image of your desire, as if it were already yours. Engage all 5 senses in that scene. If your goal involves creative success, picture the vibrant colors of the gallery walls, the soft echo of footsteps appreciating your work, the gentle warmth of an approving smile, and even the faint scent of fresh paint. Allow the sensation of pride to swell in your chest, and the steady rhythm of confident breathing to fill your awareness. This sensory-rich feast not only replaces the negative morsel, but also embeds the desired outcome deeply into your subconscious. Practical discipline is required to maintain this inner memory. Keep a small notebook or digital note nearby to record any recurring negative thoughts. At the end of each day, review your list and rate each thought by its intensity. For the most potent ones, craft a vivid mental replay of the corresponding positive opposite. Write it down in detail, the colors, sounds, textures, and emotions, and then rehearse it mentally until it feels as tangible as the negative memory once did. This ritual serves as a powerful palate cleanser, purging your mind of outdated fears and reinforcing the taste of fulfillment you truly seek. In the quieter hours before sleep, your mental diet has an amplified effect. As you recline and your conscious guard grows soft, revisit any leftover doubts from the day's entries. Greet each one, but only for a moment. Then overlay them with the sumptuous scene of your fulfilled dream. Imagine the gentle press of victory as a warm wave washing away every lingering trace of uncertainty. Feel the golden tranquility of success settling in place of the old anxiety. With repetition, these sensory banquets become the default nourishment of your mind, and your subconscious learns to expect the feast of fulfillment rather than the scraps of fear. Over time, this mindful curation rewires the pathways of your subconscious. Thoughts you once entertained without question, self-criticism, worry, hesitation, lose their appeal and fade like unseasonal fruit. In their place sprout fresh shoots of possibility, watered by the clear, positive images you feed yourself. Each decision, each breath, reflects the refined dietary choice you've made. To nourish your creative power, not starve it with doubt. As your mental palate matures, you'll notice fewer urges to sample the bitter and more natural gravitation toward the flavors of confidence, abundance, and joy. This practice extends beyond solitary visualization into the rhythm of your daily life. In conversations, sense when negativity begins to surface, perhaps an unkind comparison or critique that lacks constructive purpose. Politely acknowledge it, then steer the dialogue toward uplifting topics. In your media consumption, select only those books, podcasts, or programs that enrich your understanding and uplift your spirit. Curate your social circle with the same care, choosing companions whose presence adds sweetness rather than sourness to your mental menu. By designing your environment as thoughtfully as your inner space, you fortify the habit of feasting on fulfillment rather than starving on self-doubt. As you continue this journey of mental nourishment, remember that true abundance in life starts with a banquet of the mind. Each moment you choose to replace negative awareness with the sensory feast of your desired reality, you reaffirm your role as creator rather than victim. Guarding your mental diet is not an act of denial, but one of profound intention, allowing the slightest bitterness to point you home to the most vibrant flavors of your imagination. Immerse yourself in that richness and watch how swiftly your world reshapes to echo the sumptuous feast you hold within. Have you ever walked into a room and felt an almost magnetic pull toward someone whose very presence seemed to proclaim success before a single word was spoken? I recall my first week in a new role, nervously clutching my notes as I entered a meeting filled with seasoned colleagues. Instead of shrinking under the weight of uncertainty, I decided to act as though I had been thriving in that position for months. I lifted my chin, offered a steady smile, and greeted each person with the certainty of someone who not only belonged but also led. In that instant, the air shifted. Doors that had felt closed swung open. Questions were answered with unexpected eagerness, and opportunities appeared where I had presumed none existed. It was in that choice, to move and speak as if the reversal I sought had already taken place, that I discovered the secret to aligning my outer world with my inner assumption. The essence of this practice lies in the continuity between thought, feeling, and behavior. Your imagination seeds a scene of fulfillment, but it is through deliberate action and speech that the subconscious and the collective mind take notice and begin adjusting reality in response. When you carry yourself with poise, shoulders relaxed yet upright, eyes meeting others with genuine interest, you broadcast the internal narrative you wish to inhabit. Each gesture becomes a brushstroke in the portrait of your desired life. Words you choose, phrases you utter, and the tone you employ serve as affirmations that solidify your inner state. Speak of your goals in the present tense. I am leading successful projects. I am enjoying abundant creative flow, rather than relegating them to a distant I will or a wistful someday. To cultivate this alignment, develop simple yet powerful micro-habits. Before each social interaction, whether a quick coffee chat or a major presentation, take a moment to center yourself. Stand tall. Close your eyes if circumstances allow, and mentally cross the bridge from who you are to who you intend to be. Feel the ease of confidence settling into your bones. Recall the sensations of past successes, however small, and amplify them in your mind. Then, as you step forward, let your posture, your handshake, your opening words carry that memory into reality. Notice the subtle shifts in how people respond. They lean in, their tone mirrors your assurance, and collaborative energy begins to flow. Mirror work and conscious journaling further reinforce this practice. Each morning, as you prepare for the day ahead, spend a few minutes looking directly into your own eyes. Speak aloud affirmations that correspond to your fulfilled assumption. I greet challenges with calm creativity. I inspire trust and respect. Pay attention to the rhythm of your voice. Make it steady, warm, and clear. Afterward, journal a brief account of how you carried these affirmations into your day, what you noticed in your interactions, the changes in your mood, and any new possibilities that emerged. Over time, this feedback loop trains your mind and body to default to the assumed state, making the gap between imagination and experience ever narrower. Your environment, too, becomes a stage that reflects and reinforces your inner assumption. Curate your workspace and home to mirror the life you seek. Display images or objects that symbolize success. Arrange your desk so that tools and resources are organized and accessible, and select attire that both comforts and empowers you. When you meet colleagues or friends in settings that support your fulfilled self, whether a tidy office, a favorite cafe, or an inspiring co-working space, you surround your consciousness with visual cues that affirm your assumption. In these carefully chosen environments, your actions and words flow more naturally from the identity you are stepping into. Perhaps most transformative is the way this practice reshapes group dynamics. When you enter collaborative settings as though you already occupy the role you desire, whether that is facilitator, innovator, or trusted confidant, you change the unspoken expectations of the group. People look to you for guidance, feedback, and leadership, because your behavior signals that you have both the competence and the conviction to deliver. Invitations to speak, opportunities to collaborate, and offers of support begin to present themselves without overt solicitation. This is not manipulation, it is alignment. By synchronizing your inner assumption with your outward expression, you create a harmonious resonance that attracts circumstances congruent with your vision. Carry this principle into every corner of your life. In casual conversations, share stories of your current achievements and express gratitude for them. In emails, write as if your desired outcomes are already manifesting, choosing language that conveys standing rather than striving. In moments of solitude, practice walking through your home or neighborhood with the same ease and assurance you would exhibit in the reality you intend to live. Each step and each syllable become threads in the tapestry of your assumption, binding your present actions to your future experience. Through consistent application, the outer world reshapes itself to echo the inner world you have claimed, turning each day's small choices into the grand architecture of a life lived from the end. As you've seen, every moment of doubt, discomfort, or resistance carries the exact clues you need to chart a course toward your deepest desires. By leaning into negative feelings with curiosity, you turn them into precise signposts. By observing the contrast between not yet and already here, you sharpen the image of your goal. By fully feeling the raw signal of negativity and then reconstructing it into a vivid, sensory-rich scene of fulfillment, you bridge the gap between absence and presence. By harnessing the pre-sleep state, you impress your reversal upon the fertile ground of the subconscious. By holding both certainty and doubt together with compassion, you maintain steady momentum. By curating your mental diet, swiftly replacing every undermining thought with its positive opposite, you nourish your creative power. And by moving, speaking, and behaving as if your desire is already realized, you send a clear, unambiguous message to both your inner world and the world around you. When you weave these practices into your daily life, morning ritual, daytime awareness, evening revision, you transform negativity from an obstacle into the very compass that guides you. The same forces you once resisted become the fuel that accelerates your manifestation tenfold. Keep practicing these steps faithfully, and you'll find the outer world reshaping itself to mirror the vivid, empowered reality you hold within.